Hello and welcome to my longest video, also my most useless video. I played Persona 5 Royal, finished it last week, and I'm gonna talk about it cause it's good. That is cold! That is very cold! I like it! I like it! Last year, quarantine, no school. I bought Persona 5, I played it, favorite game, loved it, made a little edit of it, it's the best, it's pretty cool. This year, Persona 5 Royal, same thing really, same situation, didn't have school for 2 weeks, played it for 2 weeks, non-stop, 10 hours a day at least. I played the original for 134 hours, and I played Royal for 168 hours, so I spent more than 300 hours in this game. I'm gonna make a video about it because otherwise I would feel like I have wasted my time. But simultaneously, this video is almost entirely for me because I do not care who the fuck watches this. I'm gonna try to make it watchable for people who haven't played it. Full spoilers of the game. I'm gonna go through the game and talk about it and what I think, but I'm gonna go through it in chronological order. So if you've played the game up to a point, but don't want spoilers after that, just stop when I get to that point. This is gonna be my longest and biggest video, I think. And yes, I don't know who the fuck is gonna even like it. But anyway, let's start it. Let's start the game. Let's start the game. That's the thing from the game. I didn't even what? I don't know. What the hell is this shirt? So you open up in this big casino, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? There's this guy in a cloak. He looks sexy. He has a mask on, and he's running around evading FBI agents or whatever the fuck. And you're confused, and then suddenly, before you even get an explanation, you are that character, and you are going to run away from the police as that character. And apparently you have a bunch of team members that you don't even know who are telling you what to do. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, this fucking red hair comes in, and she kills a bunch of these enemies that you're fighting, apparently, which are like people in suits, but they have weird masks, and they turn into demons? What? And then you escape, but then you get captured, and then you get taken to an interrogation room, and then this really attractive woman, she comes in and is like, explain everything to me, and you're like, I don't know! But your character does explain things, and it cuts to months earlier, where you learn that you are apparently a transfer student that got sent to another city because he was accused of a crime that he didn't really commit, but no one knows that. Everyone thinks that you assaulted a man, and he sued you and made you, well, you got transferred because you had to go to a different school, because you had like a record now or something. I don't know how Japan works, but whatever. This man, who's apparently a friend of your family, takes you in his cafe called LeBlanc. I'm gonna call it LeBlanc. Just because I think it's funny. And he takes you to your new school where everyone thinks that you're a criminal and everyone is whispering rumors about you. So you are completely alone in this new place and you have no idea what the fuck is going on. And then you have a nightmare. You have a nightmare where you wake up in a prison cell. There's two little girls dressed as wardens, and a guy with a big nose who is severely balding. And he's sitting at a table, and he has a really deep voice, but he doesn't open his mouth. He's like, what's up, bitch? I've been waiting for you. This is the beginning of your rehabilitation. And you're like, pardon? And then you wake up and it's time to go to school, and your main character is just like, well, that was a weird dream. Anyway. Oh, that's that good shit. I mean, it's not. It's pretty fucking boring water, I'm not gonna lie. This water brand is not good, but it's good that it's cold. Anyway, you go to school, and then on your way to school, you get stopped by all the rain raining down, because it's rainy. Why did I make that sentence? And you meet this very attractive young lady, who later you learn is named Ann. And Quagmire rolls up and is like, hey girl, wanna ride? Giggity. And she's like, sure, I guess. And then they go to school. And then suddenly this blonde-haired kid comes up and he's like, damn, Kamoshida, that asshole. And you're like, pardon me? Excuse, who are you? And he's like, that guy is a pervert. And he's also a dick who broke my leg. And he's a teacher at the school I go to. I'm Ryuji, by the way. And you're like, cool. And you go to school and you arrive at school and it's a castle, a medieval castle. And I mean, you know, better than some boring ass regular school. But then apparently you find out that's not normal, and then Ryuji's like, whoa, is this for real? Then you get captured by this big weird knight with a mask, and you're taken into a prison cell where the teacher that he was talking about comes up but he's wearing only a cape and underwear and a crown. And then he comes in and threatens to kill the kid, and then your main character hears a mysterious voice and is like, what the fuck is going on? And then suddenly a mask appears on your face. The mask that you saw in the beginning of the game when you were in the casino. And you rip it off, and then you light on fire, and your clothes change, and a demon pops up behind you. And then Ryuji's like, whoa, was that for real? As you're trying to escape the prison, you meet this strange cat-like creature that tells you that he knows what the fuck is going on, and you're gonna need to follow him if you want to live. And you're like, sure, because you have no other options, really. And then you fight again, and that's like the tutorial for the fighting and how it works, and you had like the demon behind you, or what you find out later is called your persona. It is the embodiment of your true self. This cat and you fight along each other and kill these demons that pop up, and you're getting a hang of how things work. And it's pretty nifty. It's pretty dope. And you escape the castle, and the cat that doesn't like to be called a cat explains that this is the metaverse, which is the cognitive world. It's like a mirror world to our own, where people's imaginations and desires take form into real life. And this castle is a palace, which is a place where a singular person's distorted desire transforms a location into an entirely different location that they see themselves as the ruler of. In this case, it's Kamoshida's school, because he is the most praised gym teacher at the school, which is what you learn from Ryuji, is that he is basically single-handedly responsible for the school's reputation, because he conducts the volleyball team, which is one of the best in the whole country, I think, right? But as you're going out of the castle, you also see a bunch of volleyball students that get tortured. So yeah, basically, in real life, Kamoshida sees himself as the king of the school, and he can do anything he wants with the students, like torture the volleyball students to get better, or sexually harass all the female students, such as An. But the cat is like, there's a solution. If you find his treasure and steal it, then this palace disappears, and his distorted desires in the real world will disappear, or have a mental breakdown. You're not sure, but there's like a 50-50 coin flip, you know? It depends on how you handle the situation. But the point is, you want to change this teacher's heart because he seems like a dick. I mean, you get to be a fucking badass and go around killing demons with your persona, so that's pretty cool. So you're like, yeah, sure, I'll help this cat and this blonde boy save the school that I just started going to and everyone hates me in, but I'm a nice guy, you know? So you decide to go and steal the treasure in Kamoshida's castle. Oh yeah, also, the cat's name is Morgana, and he is a real cat, actually. In the metaverse, he's this weird cartoon-looking character, but in real world, he's a cat, even though he doesn't like to be called a cat. Because he says that he's a human who got transformed into a cat somehow, and he doesn't really know anything about it. He has, like, amnesia, but he knows, like, stuff about castles, but doesn't really know what the fuck is going on with his own life and body. He doesn't know who he is or where he comes from. But he's a cat in real life, and someone's gonna need to take care of him. Right? And you are that person. You're gonna need to take care of the cat. And he now joins you, spends the rest of the game inside your bag and outside your bag. But I mean, so, like, as you go around the city, he's inside your bag and constantly commentates on everything you do. You know, some people find that annoying. Some people find Morgana's constant chatter very frustrating. I do not mind it. On your, like, second visit to the castle, Ryuji gets almost killed again, but then he, like, gets really angry at Kamoshida and at everything that's been going on in his life as well, and breaks out into a persona as well and rips off a mask off his head. But anyway, he also has a persona who's a pirate, because criminals. So now you have 3 people with 3 personas. There's this girl named Shiho, who is one of Kamoshida's victims, and she attempts suicide at a point in the game. I'm not going to go in depth into that, because I'm trying to make this a lighthearted video. But this makes Ryuji even madder than he was before, and he goes up to Kamoshida and attempts to punch him in the face. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna expel you. And then you have a deadline. Steal his heart. You have to steal his heart. That's what you have to do. It's like the heart of the palace is the treasure. And that's like the distorted desire. So you steal it, and then they become guilty. Well, they feel guilty. They feel remorseful for what they've done, and they feel like they need to apologize. So yeah, good thing that this was right here. This is just, I don't know what the fuck this sort of, like, where do you put this? In a Christmas tree? I don't know what it is. And this is where the free play portion of the game comes in, where you can basically choose whatever the fuck you want to do for the next 14 days. Before that, An also sneaks into the castle at one point and sees the shadow version of herself, which is the version that Kamoshida created of An. And she gets really, really mad at that, obviously. And she also awakens to her persona. And yeah, oh, I forgot to mention, there's this app on your phone that got put there by, presumably by Igor or something. I don't know. The point is, you have an app on your phone that lets you go inside the metaverse. That's how you go in and out of the metaverse and explore further into the castle, and then when you're tired, you get out. But anyway, in the real world, you can do all sorts of activities. That you have a star that represents all your social stats. There's 5 levels to each of these 5 things, and you improve them gradually by doing repeated action. Like, for example, reading a book about smart things is going to improve your knowledge, or studying is going to improve your knowledge. Taking a bath is going to improve your charm because you're going to stink less, you filthy piece of shit. And you know, you need certain levels of those stats to hang out with people. Why would you want to hang out with people? Well, first of all, because you don't have any real life friends, so you need some social interaction somehow. At least that's my reason. By the way, I forgot to mention, I've never played any of the Persona games, obviously, because I played Persona 5. No Persona 5 player has ever played any of the other Persona. Anyway, this game, just like the other games, has social links, is what they're called in the other games. In this game, they're called confidants. There are different characters throughout the city and throughout the game that you can choose to hang out with to improve your ranking with them. Each character has 10 ranks, and every time you hang out with them, it's gonna improve. I would have done it for no reason at all, just to, you know, get the feeling of having friends. I need to stop making those jokes because they're very much not jokes and they're just sad. But the reason you want to do this from a gameplay perspective is because each different confidant gives you different abilities the more you hang out with them. And this is a very, very cool way of integrating just the regular social life stuff into the palace stuff. Palace stuff is you fight against what are called shadows, which are these like human souls, I guess. I don't know, the game doesn't really explain it perfectly, but they're basically like demons. They're just demons in the metaverse, that's what they are. And you fight them with your personas, and it's turn-based RPG. It's Pokemon, basically. It's Pokemon, but there's no balls, there's just masks. That's the game. Your main character is the only one that can capture different personas. Everyone else only has one, but you can talk to these shadows and convince them to join you and let you use them in battle. And in Igor's room, in the Velvet Room, you can fuse them with other personas and make stronger personas or sacrifice personas to give XP points to other personas. It's a whole system. And it's pretty fucking fire. It is so addicting. I haven't played a lot of JRPGs. I've played like 3 or 4 Pokemon games. I find turn-based RPGs very addicting. I really enjoy that shit. And I think this game captures everything I love about Pokemon, but times 20. One of the main things that makes it so addicting is the designs and presentation of it all. The menus, the red, white, and black color palette of the menus and stuff, the way the menus move around everywhere, all throughout the game. There isn't a one boring menu in this game. And in battle, it's that times 10. I mean, the takedowns, the moves, everything is so polished and so nice looking. It's just fun to observe. One thing I have to mention at this point, because this is when you start noticing it, the music is the best, period. I made a video a while back about how Cowboy Bebop is my favorite soundtrack. Persona 5 though is definitely the second, like a close second when it comes to all soundtracks. If it didn't have the soundtrack that it does, I don't know if it would be my favorite game. And before you get to steal Kamoshida's treasure, you have to send him a calling card, because the treasure isn't really there. I mean, it's a amorphous blob that you can't really touch. And in order to materialize it into something that you can take away from the palace, there needs to be a threat to the real-life palace owner. And the way you do that in the game is you send a calling card where you state that you are going to steal the palace owner's treasure, and even if they don't know what the fuck you're talking about, in real life they feel threatened and they're like, oh, someone's coming after me and they're gonna steal something from me. And so the palace security shoots all the way up, and you have to go in, steal the treasure, get it, and that's when you fight the boss. And you do that to Kamoshida very easily, and you establish yourselves as the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. And I should talk about the members up to this point. First, there's Skull, or Ryuji's code name. Ryuji is a fucking bro, alright? Like, whenever there's a new member introduced to the Phantom Thieves, he's always the one who's like, get the fuck out of here, I don't accept you, I don't trust you. But then immediately once they become a real member of the team, he is the sweetest person to everyone all the time. He always puts others before himself and is very funny. I'm not gonna get into every confidant subplot, but his is definitely one of my favorites. Then there's On, aka Panther. I like On. I feel like a lot of her development is in the first arc, and then afterwards she doesn't really have any other moments to shine. But I'm not gonna lie, in the first few arcs, I was pretty into her. I was trying to romance her. Forgot to mention that you can romance, you can choose specific dialogue options, and then at some point towards the end of their arc, they're gonna ask you if you want to date or if you want to be in a relationship together. And you can do this to all the girls in the game simultaneously, but I believe that if you do so, they do find out on Valentine's Day and you get destroyed by all of them. I'll say who I romanced later, but let's just say for the beginning of the game, I was trying to do that with Ann because I thought she was going to be one of the best female characters. Little did I know, this game has a lot of great characters, but we'll get to that later. Is there a bit too much fan service with her character? Yes, there's definitely too much. But she's the only female character that gets sexualized like that, I think. And I mean, she is a model. Her whole arc in the confidant rank is her becoming a more confident model and owning her natural beauty instead of being afraid because it makes her stand out. So she's pretty cool, but out of everyone in your team that you end up getting, I feel like she's definitely one of the least interesting ones. Then there is the cat. Don't wake her up. This is Morgana, aka Mona. He's a bitch. You don't have to. It's okay. Okay. Thank you. This is my friend's cat to represent Morgana. Even though, no, don't jump on my fucking laptop, I swear to God. Whatever. A lot of people find Morgana annoying. I get it. But I feel like I just relate to him too much to be annoyed by him. Because, you know, he's trying to help, he's trying his best. You know, he's a bit annoying sometimes, but he has a heart of gold. His story arc is actually automatic. As you progress through a story, you don't choose when you want to hang out with him. And just at certain points in the story, you progress his confidant rank further and further. And I always found myself very emotionally attached to him, especially at night when you just hang out, you and him, because you spend the entire fucking game with him, right? And then he's your cute little pet cat, bro. How can you get mad at a little pet cat? I should probably mention Royal introduces a new character by the name of Kasumi, who you definitely haven't seen before at all, ever. She's a first-year athlete at the same school you go to. You're in the second year, I forgot to mention that. She's very adorable, but you can sense that there's something off about her. The biggest red flag to me is the fact that her confidant rank is different from everyone else's. She only has 5 ranks instead of 10. The depth of her character only comes in later. Another addition to Royal is the therapist that comes in after the whole Kamoshida situation. Because, I mean, you know, the school has been through a lot of shit and the students need counseling. But really it's just for the image of the school to stay intact, because, I mean, if they didn't do anything after all that shit, it would be kind of weird. So yeah, he comes in, you get to hang out with him. I think he gives you some SP, and his confidant ranks gives you some really useful abilities. But anyway, he's not really important. He's just kind of a little add-on they added to Royal. Nothing really major or anything. At this point in the game, Morgana takes you to Mementos, which he describes as everyone's palace. And what it is this huge, long subway system that goes deeper and deeper underground. And the further you progress in the story, you unlock more and more levels that go deeper and deeper. And this is basically just the grinding place. This is where you go to grind. And there's also like quests that you do, which I love the fact that you do this. Because you are the Phantom Thieves and you take care of these big bad guys, but also people write to you online about like smaller things like, hey, my boss is a bitch, or this one kid at school is bullying me. And you go into Mementos and you deal with those people because you're heroes, basically. You're superheroes. You beat people's cognitions into being good, basically. You kick their ass until they're like, oh wait, maybe what I've been doing is wrong. Anyway, you're the Phantom Thieves, you're trying to find some new jobs, trying to find some new palace owners that you can take down and own these shitty adults, you know, show them what's up. And then Ann gets stalked by this guy named Yusuke. He's an art student and his teacher is the most successful artist in all of Japan. Turns out he was stalking Ann because he wants to paint a nude of her just because she is such a natural beauty. And you see that as an in to explore more of this Madarame guy because you hear some pretty bad rumors about him. And turns out that he's a fraud that uses his students' art instead of actually making his own. And Yusuke kinda knows this, but he goes along with it and tries to ignore it as much as he can because the guy adopted him at a very young age, so he kinda owes his life to him. But after Yusuke sees definitive proof that he is a fraud, you slip into the palace with him, and he meets the shadow version of him, sees how corrupt he is, and has an awakening. And after that, you take Madarame down. It's a whole thing. I'm not gonna be able to get into all the details of every palace, so I'm just gonna, you know, kind of rush through them. What I'm gonna talk about, though, is Yusuke as a character. Fantastic. Of course I love him. Everyone loves him. It's not like he's okay. I like him a lot. I really do. He's great. Everyone loves Yusuke. He's very kooky. He's very funny. He's the kooky artist, the one who can't really communicate with other people and has a whole like awkward personality. And he is funny. I do find him very funny. But as a character, other than this whole thing with his mom, which is definitely the emotional punch of the second palace, is the Sayuri, which I'm not going to get into, but it's a painting that his mom made that Madarame copied, and he kind of let his mom die while she was having a stroke in front of him. And Yusuke's whole confidant arc, really good. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know, the kooky artist shtick just didn't charm me. There's nothing about him that I dislike either, like it's not like I can complain about him or anything. Next palace, the student council president, Makoto Nijima, is forced to start investigating you by the principal. But she's also forced to figure out why some of the students at Shujin have been getting some shady jobs. Which basically leads into she figures out you're the Phantom Thieves very easily, very quickly, and she basically blackmails you into taking care of this mafia that she also uncovered, the leader of which, Kaneshiro, ends up blackmailing all of you into paying him $3 million in 3 weeks, I think? Or else he's gonna, I don't know, ruin your lives. I forgot the whole fucking plot beat. Because really the third palace is pretty predictable and pretty average when it comes to the story of Kaneshiro and everything. What stands out about it is Makoto herself. Okay, so let's talk about Queen. Let's talk about Makoto. Her codename is Queen, by the way. You know, I never understood the concept of waifus. I always thought it was very like weird to like get that emotionally attached to a fictional character. Like, come the fuck on, really? Like, I mean, I get liking characters and, you know, finding them attractive, but having a crush on them as if they were a real person, that's kind of cringe, bro, I'm not gonna lie. And then I played Persona 5. This guy, he made a great video about why Makoto is the best. Go watch that if you want a full in-depth analysis of why Makoto is a great character. I'm just gonna explain why I chose to romance her out of everyone and why I did it twice, both in the original and in this version. So you meet her, right? And she's like the student council president and she's going right after you and you have like this tension going on because you're the leader of the Phantom Thieves. And she's coming up to you like, I know what the fuck you're doing and you're gonna go down, alright? Unless you do what I tell you. And at first I was like, alright, okay. I see you. Let's see where this is going. And then you see things from her personal life. You get to see Makoto alone with her sister. By the way, her sister is Sai Najima, the person interrogating you in the game. So yeah, how's that for a fucking shocker? She's a student council president. She does every job that she's asked perfectly. She has perfect grades. She kills it all around, and her sister is still hard on her, and her principal is only using her because he knows that she's very useful. And the whole sister thing I related to a lot because I was basically raised by my sister for half of my childhood. And she was very, very strict on me having good grades and learning, and so, you know, that just hit me even harder. And she is lonely. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have time for friends. So she has no choice but to do the things that these adults ask of her, just to get some sort of validation. But once she sees you and the Phantom Thieves and awakens to her persona, which is a bike, Johanna is the best persona in the game, fight me. Once she awakens to her persona, she's broken out. She's finally like, yes, fuck this shit. And once I saw her fucking transformation, I was just like, okay, what the fuck? And then you start hanging out with her, and her plot line, her confidant story arc, involves you being her fake boyfriend. So the game basically makes you go on dates with her. You help her figure out what she wants to do with her life. That's the most you help anyone in this game. Like, everyone already has some sort of goal or something and you just help them figure out one or two things, right? But she literally has no idea what the fuck to do anymore. But anyway, Makoto gives me a lot of joy, right? I just really love her character and I got very much way too attached to her. Bro, I'm not gonna hurt you. Bro, calm down. Oh no. Calm down, calm down, calm down. No. That went through my fucking pants. So this video was supposed to be one big video that was like an hour long, but then I'm really fucking slow with these things, okay? And I kind of procrastinated and I wasn't done editing, and I want to release at least a video a month. That's my, you know, that's my thing. I want to do at least that to keep it up. So I thought, what's a good way to do that? And I thought I should split it up into 3 parts, because, you know, there's 9 palaces, and this is the 3rd one. So I'm gonna, yeah, the next one's gonna be 4, 5, and 6, and then the last one's gonna be 7, 8, and 9. The next part's gonna come out whenever I'm done, because I probably have exams or some shit coming up. I don't fucking know. But, you know, definitely next month. See you then. Bye-bye. My name is Dees. Thanks for watching.